Buenas noches. I've been asked to do a comedy routine about being Hispanic and not knowing it. So, I would like to, I don't have a microphone, so I'm going to use my favorite hairbrush. So first off, I just want to start with some of the racist things people say about Hispanics. Preferably South American. I'm from Mexico, and which I always disagreed with and didn't know why. And it's gonna go like this. So, I'll be like, why are all those Mexican people all living in one house all together? That seems suspicious. Right? How many abuelos and abuelas do you see in a nursing home? Oh no, just white people just, they don't take care of their own sick. It's kind of like my mom. Yeah, so we'll start from there. Oh, there's a lot of Hispanic or Mexican people. It could be gangs. A very large group of people. Sure. Siestas, fiestas, quinceañeras, football, mi familia, fiestas, parties. You know what? Mexicans like each other. Hispanics like each other. They like spending time together. It's mi familia. It's not a gang. Thank you. Okay. More misconceptions. Let's keep going. Wow, well, there's a crime. Look, there's a Hispanic. He must have done it. No, we don't have time for that. We're working 3 or 4 jobs, working hard with our hands, bodies, and backs, and then we're taking care of our family. Mi abuelo, mi abuela, mi grande abuela, mi grande abuelo, mi niños. Everyone is taken care of in that unit. Togetherness. Right? Right. So, another misconception. Here comes some more misconceptions about Hispanics and Mexicans, preferably. Yes, okay. So, they're just bringing their children here because they don't care. They're just gonna pawn them off on our country. You don't think? There are Hispanic, Mexican, Latino women that would risk their life for their child to have a better life. They would risk everything to immigrate here, mostly immigrate legally. What does it take to immigrate? It takes a lot of money. It takes a lot of work. It risks so much for their life, for their children to have a better education. Risk their lives almost for their children to have better opportunities or better education, work 3 or 4 jobs, so los niños and niñas, bueno vida, have better life. Unlike my mom, my mom just sold me to, she just sold me to Hollywood so she could make money. But, she's a misconception. So, and then what do those kids get? Quinceañera. Huge celebrations of, womanhood. Let's talk about family. Mi familia, su familia. We take a whole couple days just to put everybody on a wall, burn candles, and just think about them going to the next life. It's called Day of the Dead. So when you see a lot of Hispanics, specifically Mexicans, together. No, it's because they like each other. Quiero. We like each other. And they care about family, familia. So what is it like to be adopted? Well, and not know you're Hispanic? Well, I obviously, for some reason, didn't have any of those ideas, beliefs, or thoughts. And I just think, like, you just kind of know, you know. I didn't have any of those racist ideas or thoughts. And, but, you know, my boyfriends knew. And they'd always be like, you know, you're real pretty, like Sophia, Maria. You know, you look a lot like Jose. Every date was a Mexican restaurant. Every date. For my birthday party, all my boyfriends would take me to the Mexican restaurant. I'd get the sombrero on my head, and then they would buy me, you know, the fishbowl tequila, the fishbowl margarita. You're thinking, that's interesting. Okay, all right, sure. So, you know, I thought I would test it, you know. How Mexican, how Latino, how Hispanic am I? So one evening, I got assaulted. A man got me too drunk, did things he knew I didn't want to do. And I was angry. So I was just like, I'm just gonna test this. I'm just gonna test how Hispanic, how South American am I? So we start to drive back. And then I'm in bad shape, you know, upset, my eyes swollen. I've cried, been assaulted. So I start, you know, just pulling up on my phone South American cartels. Just mentioning quietly, talking about South American, you know, Mexican cartels. Man, that guy, I've never seen a white guy run so fast. It was like Usain Bolt. You know, I've never, all of a sudden, he looked like he was gonna throw up. You know, he threw my things at the door and ran as fast as he could. I was like, wow, you know. And lucky for him, he's a very small person, and he can fit in a suitcase that will transport him to Canada. You know, so he doesn't have to live in fear of his life anymore. But you know, you just kind of like, oh, wow, we really do care about each other, us Latinos. I know. Yes, we are protective. Yes, we are caring. Mi familia. So, okay. So the boyfriends knew, you know, obviously. Then it comes down to family. You know, there's no, you know, pictures of you, many pictures of you as an infant. Definitely have a different shade of skin, different nose. You're tiny and little. Everyone else is, you know, like the blurbs or the blobs, you know, Eddie Murphy in compared to you. You know, that show. And all of a sudden, you know, you're taking in Hispanic, Latino, foreign exchange students. You know, your parents start doing all these missionary trips. You know, they could go anywhere in the world. The popular things, Africa, you know, they could go anywhere. New Guinea, whatever. All South America, all Venezuela. All of a sudden, you have all these people that have adopted or have children that are Hispanic near you. And your family will say things like, oh, hey, Sophia, you know, no one would go with her to prom. You know, the boys said that it was because she's Hispanic. A lot of the white boys were racist, and no one would go with her to prom. And then I look, and there I am. No one took me to prom. Same thing, 8th grade prom. I'm like, oh, okay. Then all of a sudden, a cousin shows up from Uruguay. Dana, this is your cousin from Uruguay. Oh, really? That's so interesting. Because he's like native Uruguayan. You know, native Uruguayan. Like, you know, Ecuador, you know, Amazon forest kind of, you know, and you're like, oh, he's my cousin? How did that happen? Mysterious. And then, of course, I was working 3 or 4 jobs. It's as hard as can be. Could never have enough money. Could never, you know, get what I needed. Working my ass off. And somehow my brother didn't have to, you know, work at all. He had one job, had fancy cars. Maybe it was just the Mexican Hispanic in me working my ass off. Wow. That's how you know you're Hispanic. That's how you know you're Hispanic. Proud Hispanic now. So if you think you're Hispanic, test it like I did. Test it. Definitely test it and be proud of it. Be proud that you've been, if you haven't been raised in a Latino home, casa, if you haven't been in a casa, know that their values are family. Their values are hard workers. Their values are taking care of their family, their older adults, really remembering them, Day of the Dead, and moving on. When I found out I was Hispanic, dude, I bought all the skulls for Day of the Dead. I lit everything on fire, put every ancestor, real or not real, on my wall. I was so proud. I was like, how loving and kind is it that you take a whole couple days just to love on people that aren't even here? So, viva, Latinos, Hispanics. Have pride. How you know you're Hispanic? When you're